Hello, Aldwyn Altuney here. Welcome to Media Queen TV. We have a very exciting guest with us today, a lady who has been speaking up around the Gold Coast and in other places about our rights. And today's topic is very exciting because, as we know, there's been a lot of craziness in the world in the last year and a half. And right now is time to empower yourself. And common law is one way you can do it, actually, to know your rights, particularly during these times. Now, our special guest is the founder of the Common Law Australia community. She started this from a heart of wanting to start a community to bring solutions in this time that we find ourselves. Welcome, Dotti Janssen. Great to have you with us.
Thank you, Aldwyn. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being with us today. We had a chat recently at a silent rally on the Gold Coast, and that was a fantastic interview that we did there that went viral in such a short amount of time. And I really appreciate you coming back today because, I've been to some of your meetings and you're extraordinary with your stand for people and for freedom. And of course, common law is where it's at. So can you tell us a little bit about your background first before we start? And what's your history and what brought you to actually, do the meeting, to actually get the first one going?
Wow. Well, that is a big conversation, actually. Look,
yes.
The thing is, we got to look at what common law is, and this is where people misunderstand it. They think it's based on the Constitution, and that is where we get our rights. Well, we actually get our rights from the Creator. They are our God-given rights, and they are the law of the land and tribal law, and that is what common law actually represents. It also means common sense. And, where we find ourselves today is far from any of those. And people are realizing that their rights are being taken from them. They're in absolute fear and panic. Because let's face it, they're coming after our jobs, they're coming after our finances, and they're coming after our children and our family members. And basically, they are coming after us. And people need to not be afraid in this time. As I know it's easier said than done, but it's really important that we get educated, knowing that we have rights, and if we stand together in them, we can change everything. And it is power to the people right now. It's just they're not realizing the power that they have and what they need to stand up in. So my heart was just absolutely, hurting for the people around me and seeing what's happening to this incredible nation. I love Australia. I love this nation. It's one of the best nations in the world, and I have travelled extensively overseas, and it's always good to come home. And what is happening here is an absolute disgrace, and it is heartbreaking. So I started the community from common law because I could see that the future was based on common law. How did I see that? I actually saw it in the spirit, and I knew that that was the way forward. Starting the community was with a heart to bring solutions. So bringing solutions, we've been bringing education, we've been running workshops, both in the practical but also in the spiritual, because that is our God-given rights that we need to tap into and know how to stand in them, in our sovereignty and our unalienable rights.
So for those who don't understand common law, what's a simple way to explain what common law is versus the current system that we seem to be living under with the current dictatorship?
Okay, so common law is our God-given rights and our sovereignty, and what we're coming up against is legislations, regulations, stats, and they are not in line with the rights of the people, and we are dealing with the corporation. Our government is a corporation, and they are trying to dictate to us, which is tyranny. And this is where people need to rise up and go, we're not complying to your man-made dictatorship, and we are taking back our rights, and we're standing for our freedom and our liberty. But we need to do this together. We've got so many incredible communities that have started across the nation, grassroots communities, people that have started similar to me out of a heart to, band together with like-minded people, people that want to bring change, people that need to hear how to step into the new, and how to get out from underneath this tyranny. And it's really crucial that we start working together and standing together in that one simple expression, that is, we treat others the way we want to be treated, and we do no harm. And that is really based on the law of God. God says, love me and love one another. And it's as simple as that. Everything that we have come under, what we have tolerated, what we put up with, is all tyranny. It's all dictatorship. And they have just been, ripping us off for years, for centuries, actually. And we are in a forced awakening. Everyone will go through this. Everyone will have to experience stepping out from the slavery and the dictatorship that we're under, and step into freedom and in knowing who they are, who they were created to be. Honestly, Aldwyn, I'm excited about what lays ahead of us. The future is going to be incredible. The most important thing is, don't bow down, hold the line, because we're moving forward and solutions are here and we're stepping into them. And as the masses waken up and go, you know what, I am not complying, the quicker we'll turn this all over.
Yeah, absolutely. And that starts with education, right? A lot of people don't want to believe that we've had a corrupt system for so long, and that we've been living under this crazy dictatorship, and that, the company structure and the corrupt banking system, the councils, all of this is so much. When you start digging into it, it can be quite mind-blowing. And for a lot of people, they're like, how can this be? How could we be living like this for so long? And this is what the powers that be rely on, is for us to stay ignorant, right? And so now people are starting to wake up, which is fantastic. And it's great to see hundreds of people at these common law meetings and gatherings, that people have had enough. As the more you dig into it, and as soon as you wake up to one truth, you can't help but question everything, right? You can't help but, and so for me, years ago, someone said to me, oh, 9/11 was an inside job, don't you? I said, what do you mean 9/11 was an inside job, right? And I started to research. He said, watch this video. And I started to research things. I saw footage online that was never shown in the mainstream media. And I started to open my eyes to what was going on. I started researching David Icke. I interviewed David Icke shortly after that. Of course, a lot of people knock David Icke, don't they? And whether you believe what he says or not, it's really interesting that once I started to see information that was not revealed in mainstream media, and I realized how many times we'd seen those planes go into those buildings again and again and again, just like we're seeing now, get the jab, so we can open up the country again, so we can all be free again, right? When you see mass propaganda like this, there is clearly a hidden agenda going on, right? And we're seeing people dying from the jab. We're seeing serious side effects. In fact, someone personally, right, Dotti, who has been affected. In fact, several people. What's your experience of that recently?
Look, I've got business owners, friends that have gone, you know what, I'll get the jab because I want to keep, my business going. And they get the jab and they still cannot do what the government has been promising them that they can do. They still have to wear a mask. They still can't cross the border, even though they've got a business across the border and they've had 2 jabs. I've got my daughter has a friend who has 3 children, and she had to get the jab to keep her job, and she's now very, very sick. Another incident down the coast, that a young 18-year-old got the jab, and within 24 hours, she actually died. And there's more and more of these cases coming out. But the mainstream media will not report that because they want to keep the propaganda going. Really, they are constantly lying to the Australian people, and they are hoodwinking them out of their rights. They are just scamming them with all this propaganda and really, can I say, BS, because they keep promising them, if you do this, then you can go travel. If you do this, then you can go do this. And they're not staying to their word. They will constantly move the fence poles and constantly put other regulations and other criterias on it, and we will never reach the freedom. And this is what people have bought into. Let's all do what the government tells us to do, and then we'll get to the other side of this. We will never get to the other side of this, people. They are going to keep this going for as long as they can until we wake up and say, we do not consent. Do you understand that the government has been put in place on our say-so? Well, supposed to be. They're supposed to work for us. Right now, we've spent most of our lives working for them, and they have just regulated us and licensed us and regulated us and licensed us, and to the point that you can't even go fishing without a license. Where is the freedom in us to be able to live our lives and enjoy this incredible nation when we are constantly regulated, licensed, fined, and dictated to, when we are meant to live in absolute liberty and enjoy what God has created for us? We shouldn't have to pay for parking to go to the beach. We should not have to have a license to be able to catch a fish. We should not have to have a license to drive a car because we are just transporting ourselves from one place to another. See, they've got us with all the language that they use. You know, they regulate us on everything. That's why so many small businesses have gone belly up, because they are so overregulated they can't even pay those bills. This is where we small businessmen have been the backbone of this country, and we have been totally squeezed out, shut down, because they want us codependent financially on them so they can dictate to us. The government's telling Centrelink people, if you get the jab, we'll give you $400. They are coercing to blackmail and bribery at this stage. When are we going to say enough is enough? When are we going to go, no? We see filmage of young people getting the jab and mums patting them on the back. Children with face masks is child abuse because they are not getting fresh air. Any person that wears the masks, you are being hoodwinked and fooled to think that you are safe. There is so much out there to tell you that they don't work. There's so much information there. You need, honestly, people that are watching this that are not awake, please educate yourself and find the truth so that we can stand together and save this nation and save humanity in it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy. The amount of red tape in Australia. This is why so many people choose to live overseas, or, you know, when we could travel, right, back in the day. They choose to live overseas. The amount of red tape is ridiculous. I mean, Gold Coast City Council is one of the worst, right, which is now City of Gold Coast, right? City of Gold Coast, actually, you need a license to be able to busk. I know some people that are doing some free kayaking, and council have come and said, you know, to bring more joy to the community up in Labrador, and council said, oh, no, you can't do that. You can't do free kayaking. Oh, no, the ripple effect. Oh, no, you can't do that. No, you're going to have to pay license fees and God knows what. And I know with the Burleigh drumming that happened, that started years ago by my friend Ked Jacob, he had all sorts of dramas with the council as well. And it goes on. And this is just some of the stories, right? So, you know, it is insane. It's insane, the amount of red tape, the amount of dictatorship, the amount of you do what I say, right? We've been conditioned this way from a young age as kids, right? In the school system, do what I say, you know, be here at this time, leave at this time. This conditioning and brainwashing and programming has been happening for a long time. In fact, fantastic documentary called Out of Shadows. If you haven't seen it, it had 10 million
Great.
views in about a month. Out of Shadows, check it out. You won't find it generally on Facebook or YouTube, but you will find it maybe on Vimeo or BitChute or Brand YouTube or some of the alternative media out there. Out of Shadows documentary, check it out.
Yep.
Talks about the brainwashing in Hollywood and with movies. And if you look, like I was watching, I saw the TV Guide the other day. I thought, well, my choices are between, crime investigation, mass murder, like it's just fear. It's constant fear. And that's how you control the people, is divide and rule through fear. Right. So Dotti, what would you like to add to that conversation around the fear mongering that's going on at the moment?
Well, the most important thing is that we don't come from fear. If we rise up above that, because this is what they're relying on. This is what they are trading on. That if we keep the people in fear, they will do what we want them to do. They will keep us submissive. Well, this is the time that we have to be fearless. And we need to come out with a voice and say enough is enough. And we will not bow down, and we will not accept these conditions, because they are not real. And that is where we have to be so fearless in this time. And I want to challenge anyone that feels that, like this is so wrong. Please start to be a voice. Be a voice in your community, be a voice in your family, and start sharing the truth, because truth will prevail. Truth is moving on the earth. It will not stop until every stone is turned and everything that is hidden will be revealed. We are in an incredible forced change, which is going to be for the better. We are going to come into an awakening of who we really are and how life was meant to be. We are not meant to work 9 to 5, earning $600, and then the government takes $300 of it, and you're trying to put food on the table, pay your rent, pay your registration, pay your licenses, pay your fishing fees, and then you've got all your speeding fees on top, fines on top of that. We get fined left, right, and centre. It's just crazy. And it's forced the family to, both parents need to work. Kids are put into daycare. So they're already programming our kids in the daycare system. They're already educating them to be coherent to the government. And we are letting this happen because we are living under this tyranny. And mums, you should be at home bringing up your kids. You should be together on the weekend and enjoying this incredible creation that we live in, this beautiful earth that we have been provided with. And we actually have the right to dominion of this earth. It's been given to us, but we have relinquished it because we've come into a mindset that, we'll just let the government take care of us. And people think, the government would never do this to us. I'm telling you, there has been a plan in place for a very long time to set us up for the now. And we that are alive in this season, you need to realize how incredible and what history we are experiencing here for the new. It's going to be an incredible time. I know it's a hard time, and people have lost loved ones. They've lost their jobs. They've lost out on so many things. But part of that is being untethered from what they tell us we need to have and need to do, and come out from under it, and let's set up a life where we move in common sense, common law of the land, where there's no division, where there's no segregation, there's no tyranny, there's no elitism, and we stand united and we stand together for one another, with one another. This is crucial, people, absolutely crucial that we get this. And people that are receiving this right now, or you're feeling the energy that I'm releasing to you and it's resonating with you, please grab it, grab the hope, know that there is a way forward and we are in this together. Our communities are gathering like-minded people so that they don't stand alone. Some of the most incredible things that are happening is people come into our little gatherings and they go, oh my gosh, I'm not alone. I'm not alone. And that is healing for them because their families aren't on the same page yet. But they know that they are supported and that we stand together. We're learning together, we're growing together, and we're bringing solutions. Now, some of the solutions that we're bringing, workshops. We're doing great workshops for people to know who they are. We're doing them practically, and we're doing them spiritually. Multidimensional awareness. You got to understand who you are. You got to understand how your spirit realm works, how you work in the spirit realm. Yesterday, I ran a workshop on understanding how to go into the spiritual courtrooms. Very, very powerful. People were getting healed in that. They were getting set free. This is what we're stepping into, and we've got many light workers. We've got incredible Reiki healers. We've got Christian healers. It doesn't matter because we're getting rid of the labels and we're working together because this is how they've kept us. They've kept us segregated through religion, through our beliefs. And this is coming down, people. This is coming down. I stand in my sovereign DNA created by God, the creator of everything, as you do. And as I'm inviting you to come into the awakening of, yeah? I know, Aldwyn, you know what I'm talking about because you're on the same page, girl. And it's exciting. People are going, I've never felt so at home on the earth as I do right now. It's really interesting. I go, yep, I've always been the black sheep of the family, never fitted anywhere. And guess what? I finally found my fit. And I know there's many other people that are saying that. They're going, I feel like I've found my family. I go, yeah, you have.
Yes. It's actually been really positive in a lot of ways, this whole COVID fiasco, pandemic, I call it. It's actually been really positive. With every adversity, there's always opportunity, right? And after every breakdown, there's always a breakthrough. It's all about how you choose to look at the current situation. And one great positive is, as you say, it's brought people together. It's brought like-minded, positive, free-minded 5D people together, right? This fifth dimensional world that we are living in, people are tapping into it more and more now because it's not just about the 3D and what we see. People are seeing beyond the 3D now, right?
Yes. And it's so exciting to journey with people as they experience that, even for the first time, or they're feeling things change and all of a sudden they get understanding or they have an encounter of who they really are. And they're coming into the awareness of, oh my gosh, I've spent, 10 years working in a factory when I always wanted to be an artist. And see, this is the shift that's coming. We are going to all step into who we were meant to be. Whether you are working behind a bar and you were meant to be a musician, this is what's coming. This is the change. This is a transition coming into who God created you to be and releasing that blueprint that's written on your heart to fulfill that, because there's nothing more fulfilling than doing what you were called to do or you were born to do, whatever language you want to use.
Absolutely.
And it really is.
Absolutely. I want to do a shout out to all the people watching this right now and people who have been also devoted to the truth seekers, the truth speakers here. I know we've got Claire here. Claire's amazing. In fact, Claire was in the first interview with Christine and yourself that went viral at the last silent rally on the Gold Coast. And in that, Claire opened up about her father being high up in council and being a pedophile. And we see this a lot. There's all sorts of pedophile rings and all sorts of atrocious behavior that's happening. If you look up Pizzagate and look at what's happened there and, what's happened to Julian Assange, etc. In fact, that was all happening well before COVID came about, right? So this has all been unraveling now for quite some time. This is not new information. This is just all coming to the fore now. This is Agenda 21, Agenda 30. It's about depopulation, I believe, bringing the population down to 500 million from 8 billion nearly, right? This is what this is really about, okay? And if you don't believe us, just do some more research, okay? Do some more research. Kerry's giving us a clap. Thank you, Kerry. Nice to see you there. being a stand. Excellent. And this is the website to go for more information, commonlaw-australia.com. Check that out. commonlaw-australia.com. There's some great videos on there to get educated. We've got ZPG. I'm not sure who you are, ZPG, but hello, ZPG. I'll be losing my position with Oz Unity at the end of the year due to them forcing mandatory mRNA injections. This goes against the foundation of informed consent. So what can people do if they are being forced by their employers right now to get the jab, or else they lose their job? What are some things they can do right now, Dotti?
Okay, so on our webpage, we've actually got Out of the Shadows on there as well, and we've got The Fall of the Cabal. So they're really good. If you're new to this, they are really good educational movies basically to watch and help awakening. But we've also provided lawful documentation that people can use, and they are based on common law, and they will enable people to make a stand. Now, there is no guarantees that will keep you your job, but once you have served your employer or employee with the paperwork, then they will be held accountable on the other side of this. The fact of the matter is, and I'm going to put this out there, what's happening is crimes against humanity. We're almost going through, the Holocaust. And who would ever have thought? I mean, how many movies do we watch lest we forget? How many things do we go, oh, this will never happen again? Well, I'm telling you right now, this is exactly what's happening right now. And that's why, you can liken it to wearing the face mask is like the Jews having to put a yellow star on them. It didn't come suddenly. It was drip by drip by drip by drip. In the end, the neighbours turned on them and dobbed them in. And now we've got neighbours being paid by the government to dob their neighbours in. We are seeing this all over again. And we need to stand up together, united, not turn on one another, but stand together and go, we will not allow this. Because the fact is, Aldwyn, when under common law and under everything that we sit, they cannot do it to us unless we consent. So the minute we all say we do not consent and you can no longer rule over us, we can turn this over. So imagine how many millions of Australians that live here if we all did that. I know the police are fed up with doing the jobs that they have to do. We've got these deadlines. If you don't get the vaccine, the teachers are going to be stood down. The nurses are being stood down. The doctors are being stood down. The police will be stood down. And you know what? We're all panicking because we're going, well, how am I going to put food on the table? How am I going to pay my bills? And this is where we need to stand together as a community and help one another.
Yes, and there are alternatives out there. There's alternative groups starting up that are helping to become sustainable through this, because basically we can't trust the banks. There's something called bail-in laws where the next global financial crash, which is going to happen, they're going to be dipping into your super accounts, right? So start getting self-managed, super organized, start to look at some alternative ways. Reach out to us. I would suggest it's not financial advice, but I suggest look into it. Okay, I'm not a financial advisor. However, we've seen it happen in Greece. They've dipped into people's bank accounts. People have had big chunks of money missing out of their super that the government can just come in and take when things are getting tough, because the amount of money that's going out in job seeker and all those payments with Centrelink is about $1 billion a week, I believe, currently, and that's not sustainable. That's right. The government can't keep paying that out. Well, they've got to get that money back from somewhere, right? And this is the thing, is to get informed right now. And I know personally nurses who are pulling out of the profession because they do not want to get the jab, because they've said it needs 5 years to be tested properly. And look, if you choose to get the jab watching this, good luck to you. It's like Russian roulette, if you ask me. And this is not about do or don't. You've got to make the right choice for yourself, but please do your own research. Okay, do your own research. Don't just do it because you think it's going to help save Australia, because it's not. Okay, getting the jab is not going to help save anyone. In fact, you could potentially be dead in 5 years. years. That's what they're saying now, right? If you get the jab. And that's, we're seeing more people going to hospitals who've had it because of the side effects, and some people dying, and this is not being reported at all. In fact, a lot of people dying from what I've heard that hasn't been in the mainstream media. And, you want to make sure you do your research properly. Jacene is saying here they are hushing all the side effects.
Yep.
Oh, right. They are hushing the side effects.
And this is where we need to go, you know what? We will not let that be hushed. We will stand up and we will speak. And funnily enough, some of them are actually kind of letting loose what's really going on. More and more people, more and more whistleblowers, more and more people that are being brave right now and not fearful are coming up and speaking the truth. And you know what, Aldwyn? I know that we win this. I know it with every fibre of my being. It is, we are in the process, we are in the transition of coming out from under the tyranny and stepping into a whole new world. Dare I break out in a song? And and we are in transition. So the reason for the communities is to help people in this time of transition. We are there for you. But we cannot carry you through this. We will encourage you to start to stand in your own power and in your own sovereignty and get to know your own rights. But we cannot carry you through this. And, that's part of the change, because for too long, people look to other people to do everything for them. And that's been the programming. And it's like, oh, tell me what to do and I'll do it. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it. Go, no, you are a smart person. What do you see that needs to be done? And now step up and do it. And we've got to step up. We've got to go, I can do this, and find who we are and do what we are meant to do. What is on our hearts, do it. And we've got lots of things to do on the other side of this. I had a nurse send me a message. She said, I've had to give up my job that I love for 22 years. And she was devastated. I sent her a message back. I said, sweetheart, we need you on the other side of this. It is not the end. It's just the beginning of something different. And she was like, oh my gosh, you're so right. So, and there are a lot of things on the table to come out from underneath what we're under and start afresh. We can't put that out there, but we are doing a lot, and it will all come and be revealed in the right time. And I want people to know there are things on the table that we can transition to. We've got more for us than against us. We have more laws, proper laws, not legislation and regulations. We actually have laws that are on our side, not on the government side. And that's where we need to know our rights and know how to use them. Don't be bullied into anything. Don't consent to anything that you do not want to do. Make a stand. It will be okay. We will get through this.
Absolutely. And it starts with getting informed, right? So what I love about the common law meeting that you put together, hundreds of people there, it really does feel like family. It feels like, wow, thank goodness there's so many awake people out there. We just don't see it in the mainstream media generally. And but more and more I'm finding people are waking up. And if you just start to question things, as much as it can be hard to believe things sometimes, like I saw a video the other day, an Aboriginal guy was paid $500 to get the jab. Well, why are they paying people to get the jab? And in fact, all through lockdown, 5G towers have been going up all through lockdown. Now, I did a video with a guy about 5G and about the radiation that comes, the frequency that comes off the 5G towers, and he had a meter reading device, and he said, now the safe levels on this device are 2, and this went to over 22. Now, this video got taken down off YouTube. Now, why is it that certain information is being so heavily censored? Why have we got fact checkers that have come out of the woodwork since COVID? Now, isn't it interesting? Doesn't it make you question, if there's nothing to hide, then why is so much being hidden in channels such as this, right? And, hey, nothing is guaranteed. None of the media platforms are guaranteed, but I will have backup of this video, even if it gets taken down on some places, right? And that could happen. And this is the thing, is having the courage to speak up, even if it means that it could get taken down. It may get taken down somewhere, like Julian Assange, right, with the WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks got taken down. It's come back up, right? It's, the censorship of information. Why is there such censorship? One has to ask, right? One has to ask.
Yep, and they don't want us to know the truth, and they don't want us to tell each other the truth, because they're not telling us the truth, and that's why it's it's against our God-given rights. We should have free speech and free information that can be shared around. So just the censorship and the tyranny in that should speak volumes to people. And like the propaganda with the COVID, like anyone that has a television on, and I've seen in restaurants and cafes, and all it is COVID, 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 COVID. And it is disgusting how they're programming us. And people that are awake are going, what the heck? And we need more people to go, what the heck?
Yes.
And we're not bowing down to this.
No,
but it's coming. It's happening.
It is happening. It is happening. And there's a great video actually on YouTube. I popped the link in here. It's called The Tiny Dot. I highly recommend you check that out after this. The Tiny Dot. It's very cool. It's a very cool cartoon showing, the group of people that run the world is like this tiny little dot.
Yeah.
And then you've got the rest of the world that's all here, right? And this tiny little dot is dictating to the rest of the world. And now the rest of the world is starting to wake up and starting to say, we do not consent. The rest of the world does not consent to this tiny little dot who has a whole lot of enforcers, right? And it's great to see so many ex-police officers coming out talking about the corruption that is happening currently, such as Harry and Kent and a whole lot of others. Thank you to those who have worked in the system, and, myself in the media. I've seen the hidden agendas in the media too. People are coming out of the system, the nurses, the doctors, coming out who've seen the corruption, who've seen the talks about depopulation. This is what this nurse was telling me, that there's been conversations about depopulation 20 years ago.
Yeah.
These are, nurses, doctors meant to be protecting our health, and they're talking about that we don't have resources to pay for people as they age, and who's being targeted first with COVID is our elderly, has been on the attack, right? Because we don't have resources to look after our elderly. We just kill them off, take their super, right? This is the people that really care about your health, right? These are the people that care about you. Right?
And you know what? It's really interesting, because when you go down the, the straw man aspect, they actually have an insurance on us as well. So the more people that die, the more they collect the insurance.
Right. Well, there you go. A lot of people wouldn't know that.
Yeah. So that's why it is the most corrupt thing that we're coming out from under, and they're not bowing down without a fight, and we need to understand that. And they're also going to try and take as many with us as they can, and that's why they're enforcing or bribing or blackmailing people to take the jab. And look, there's, like I said, there's so much information that shows what the jab is about, what's in it, what it will do to you. It's not even proven, it's tested. We've got Tom Barnett, who shares about you can't actually catch a virus, which is an incredible piece of, footage, and he explains it so well. And, so we got to wake up. It's like, why am I wearing a mask that I can't breathe fresh air, which is causing my respiratory system and my immune system to break down so that I can become sick?
Exactly. It's very unhealthy. Very unhealthy to wear a mask.
Yeah.
And you can be exempt, and no one has the right to ask you about your health and why you're exempt, but you can be exempt. If you really want to go and get a doctor's note, some places will ask for a doctor's certificate, such as the casino, Gold Coast Casino will ask you for a certificate. They will. They'll ask for a certificate as to why you're exempt, and to take that to their security, so that they will then, make sure that everyone knows that you're exempt. But
that's so unlawful, because that's against our Privacy Act.
Right.
No one no one, like if you get a medical certificate, the doctor never writes what's wrong with you because he's not allowed to. He'll just say that you were unfit for work. You do not have to explain why you were unable to work. And yet they're demanding us to show why we are not wearing a mask in a public place.
Some places are, yes. And so that's unlawful again, right?
Absolutely. Then you've got the QR code in, which is again goes against our Privacy Act. Now, for those that don't realise this, that actually they are tapping into your phone and they are tapping into all of your information on your phone. And that is against the Privacy Act. It is not compulsory. If you go to the government webpage and go look at the QR code, it says that this is a voluntary app. And people, because they've been programmed by the media, say this is mandate, this is law. So if you ask, please show me where it is written that it is a law, they cannot prove it. They cannot show it to you. The same as if you go, for all you business owners, or everybody actually, if you go to each state government webpage, you go right down to the bottom after all of the restrictions and all of their regulations and all of their requirements, and you go down to the bottom of the page and you press on disclaimer. It says on their webpage they do not take any responsibility for anything that is written on that webpage, even if you lose financially. Does that not make you question what's going on, people? Why will they not take responsibility if they are actually trying to help us? I mean, most people, if they're doing you a good thing, they'll let everybody know and they'll take credit for it. So why does the government constantly put in disclaimers and shirk the responsibility of their legislations, their mandatory and their regulations? Why? You've got to ask the question, people. Why? Because they know that they are lying. They are absolutely causing havoc, grief, damage, and destruction in people's lives, and they're making sure they can't be held accountable for it. Well, guess what? In common law courts, they will so be held accountable, and they need to be, and they will be prosecuted for it accordingly, because we, the people, have the rights and we have the power.
Yes.
So
Well said.
kudos to us, people.
Absolutely. And why is it that health insurance companies are not covering anyone who's had the jab? I wonder why that is.
Yeah. Interesting.
Isn't that
They're
interesting?
all owned by the same people.
Isn't that interesting? So do your own research, people. Hello, Craig. Good to see you. Craig's awesome. Thank you for being a spotlight for the truth, Aldwyn. Thank you, Dotti, and thank you for everyone who is researching and questioning right now. Thank you for being a stand for the truth. We've got here ZPG. How can our governments have any credibility after they were complicit in the destruction of Iraq, Libya, Syria? The list goes on. Yes, good point, ZPG. Absolutely. Try and get a park in Byron Bay without paying. Well, that's right. That's right. Exactly. Helen says, hello, Helen. Good to see you. Wow, Centrelink paying people now. It's ridiculous. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. And she agrees. Absolutely. Masks do not work. In fact, they will make you sicker. We are meant to breathe. Air is one of the basic health essentials that we need is air. And what happens when you have a mask on, you're breathing your own bad air in? It's very, very unhealthy. Okay. Not to mention other things in the mask. Look into that as well.
Yeah, that's another one. It's our God-given right to breathe fresh air.
Yes. ZPG, television is a perfect propaganda machine, absolutely. Dark times ahead and Orwellian nightmare. Well, that's right, 1984, right? George Orwell. This is all predicted. Big Brother. We even had the Big Brother TV show just to make everyone feel that it's okay to have cameras everywhere. Have you noticed all the cameras everywhere, right? Cameras everywhere. Dotti, you are so switched on. Absolutely. This is why we're chatting with Dotti today. She's awesome. Okay, we've got ZPG saying spike protein is cytotoxic. Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
And we've got here, this is why Bill Gates has invested heavily in Big Pharma. He is a known proponent of eugenics. He said, I'd rather be poor than get the jab. If the Nuremberg trials were held today, a lot of the so-called leaders would be found guilty of crimes against humanity. Absolutely. We've got Claire here saying, win $1 million if you get the jab. Really? Is there, I haven't seen that one, Claire. Is there competitions going win $1 million if you get the jab? Would surprise me, right? Wouldn't surprise me. My goodness.
I've heard of someone offering $1 million if you can prove that the COVID exists.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And Claire says, yes, I agree, Dotti. We will win this. Absolutely.
We
will. Laura Doe. Hello, Laura Doe. Great to hear all this, ladies. Here's the link for the TGA's database of adverse events. Thank you so much for that link. Thank you for putting that there. Have a look at that. Okay, ZPG says, look on VAER's website for thousands of adverse reactions and deaths. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Excellent. Check that out. You know where to go. Claire, all freedom communities need to unite and learn their common laws. Absolutely. ZPG, the real power is in we, the people. That's right. This is what this is about.
Absolutely.
Claire, we have the power to do this. Yes. And the collective, ZPG says, the collective needs to be worldwide. They call it the road to freedom. If you get the jab, people don't realize they're losing their freedom of choice. That's right. It's all smoke and mirrors, right? It's deception. We've seen it again and again. Claire says we all need to stand together and make the changes as a collective. There are more of us than them. Absolutely. Kerry, good to see you. Hi, lovely ladies. You're doing a great job. Thanks for your love. Oh, thank you, Kerry. Thank you so much. Thank you, ladies. Dana says, hello, Dana. Lovely to see you. ZPG, yes, it's a great reset. Thanks for all those lovely comments. If you have any questions for Dotti now, pop them in the chat here if you have any questions. And if you like what you see, please share the love, right? Get this out to your friends and family and, people who are open to, researching past the propaganda in the mainstream media right now, because it just takes that little bit of opening your mind to seeing that what else could be possible, right? And in that little questioning, what else could be possible? Like when my friend said, 9/11's an inside job, don't you? And I was like, no, surely you've got to be joking. What do you mean? Right. And then watch this. And I was blown away. I'll tell you what, once you open your eyes, there's no turning back, right?
No, that's
and the
right.
truth will come out. The truth will come out in the end. It always does. And people have had enough of the lies. They have had enough. Okay, so got some more here. Dana says, a worker at Bunnings grabbed my dad's phone and downloaded the app without even asking if he wants it.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
Did you get the person's name?
Yes, that's the thing, to get the person's name. They should be grabbing your phone.
Anyone you have altercations with, people, make sure you get their name and as many details as you can, because they can be served with papers and be held accountable. So what people don't realize, if they are aiding in any way with the government's regulations, then they are actually part of crimes against humanity. And I know that's a sobering aspect, because you're like, well, I've got to work. We've got to get past the monetary situation that they have put on us. There will be another way for us to trade together and to do commerce together. And it's not their way, because there is a much higher way and a better way of doing life together, guys.
Yes, absolutely. We've got a great question here from Michelle. Hello, Michelle. Who's going to make them accountable? What's your answer to that one?
We the people.
We the people.
We the people are going to make them accountable. That's why we're doing what we're doing. Yes. We are absolutely going to keep them accountable.
Yes. And these cease and desist letters are fantastic. So great work to everyone who's sending those out. Can you explain a little bit about those cease and desist letters that have been coming out recently through the Australia Project?
Yep, we've been sending out cease and desist letters to any doctors, pharmaceuticals. We've got teachers, we've got police, we've got military. And by serving them with a cease and desist letter, they're a couple of pages long. It explains why we're serving them with that, and it's all to do with COVID and the shutdown. and then we are documenting them. So anyone that gets those cease and desist letters and they do not stop going along with the government, they will be held accountable on the other side. So we've had some success stories with that. We've had a chemist that advertises, get the jab, and they were served with cease and desist letters, quite a few of them, and they no longer now provide the service of getting the jab.
So it does work.
It does work. And see, this is where, if we realized the power that we have and that we can change this, this is where we will win this. We will turn this over. And the more of us that do it, the more letters they get. It's called peer pressure. Well, they're doing it to us. We're turning around doing it back to them.
Exactly.
So we the people, will keep them accountable. And this is where we need to step into good governance under common law with a common law court, and we start bringing them to true justice, because justice without mercy is godliness, godlessness. So this is where we have to come back to true justice and have the courts run on those bases, because all our courts are banks. They're another word for a bank.
Yes, and this is her next question, Michelle's. How can we win if all the courts are corrupt?
Because we don't go to those courts. We set up our own courts that are ruled and run by the people. And they are tried with a jury of 12, not just one person sitting up the front deciding to make all the decisions, where they actually get paid for every decision they make, where they actually get a percentage of the money that comes in through the courts. So a lot of people that have been put in jail for very minor things is all because it's about the money, people. We've got to follow the money, and that will reveal it.
That's disgusting.
That's the corruption. It is
They
disgusting.
make money out of, that's shocking. That is, again, it doesn't surprise me, right? That's crazy. Claire's saying, yes, there's plenty of competitions. I hear they're giving burgers away and all sorts of things, all sorts of bribery and corruption for people to get the jab overseas as well. Wow, interesting times we're in. ZPG says 9/11 was a Pearl Harbor event. It was used to justify the illegal invasion of the Middle East. Exactly what happened. The war on terror happened straight after 9/11, didn't it? Isn't that interesting, right? And look what a mess they've left friggin' Afghanistan in. What a mess. Oh, anyway, let's not start on that one. Now, Dana says, who do you suggest people vote for? Anyone from independents you recommend? Good question.
Okay, the question is, what we need to move away from is how we think that we should be governed. This two preferred party is not the way to go. It's about communities working together on what is common sense. We don't want political parties. And you know what? I personally would not want to see one politician in any leadership position in the future, because they have been corrupted or compromised. And this is where we, the people, need to come together, have basic rules, as in common law, how to treat yourself, how to treat others, how to treat one another. It's very, very simple. And that's what is the basis of our future.
And in fact, the Australian Labor Party and the Liberal Party are both under the same corporation. Isn't that interesting? They're both registered.
And so are the Greens.
There you go. And so are the Greens, and all the independents, all their votes go to the major parties, right? And so, politicians are basically puppets for the real powers that be, who are the elite behind the scenes. And this is what David Icke said when I interviewed him in 2016. He said, doesn't matter who you vote for, because back then it was Clinton versus Donald Trump, right? And he said, it doesn't matter who you vote for. It's, it's the same thing, basically. Well, not quite the same, but,
Yeah. Well, they give us the illusion that we vote people in, but they're the ones that already decide who goes in. And that's why you go, gee, where did that person come from? I've never heard of them before. And isn't it interesting? We really have had a culture of, you don't talk about religion and you don't talk politics. That's how we were educated here in Australia, especially, because America are very patriotic. They are very involved in their elections. And even though they're not mandatory, right, they are still very involved in what goes on. Whereas Australia, we're mandatory. We have to vote or we get fined. And people just tick a box because guess what? We don't talk about politics and we don't talk about religion.
Yes. Yes. How interesting. All very interesting. Anna says, wow, so much information. Thank you. So much gratitude. Thank you, Anna. Thank you. ZPG says community gardens. Yeah, I love that idea. We'll definitely look at getting self-sustainable right now. You might want to even buy some land, get some land that you can actually control. And even when you buy, you're still renting, basically, when you look into those laws as well. So no one really owns anything, right, actually.
Yeah, well, that's really fair, isn't it? But we have to pay for it. We pay the banks. We pay the rates. We have to pay for water that God gave anyway. And go figure. And we just keep paying. Time to break that one, I say.
Absolutely. And Dana's saying, no, he didn't. So this was Dana's father. She wasn't with him, unfortunately, when he was asked the Bunnings person took the phone and put the app on the phone. I would have put her in her place. Yes. And this is the thing to get educated, right? If someone's asking you a question, you have every single right to ask a question back. You don't have to answer their question, right?
Absolutely. And that's part of knowing who you are, is that you ask the questions. Whatever they say to you, you can put it back on them. And you need to, because that keeps you the one that's in control of the situation and not coming under their dictatorship. So if they say to you, do you understand? You tell them you do not, because that means you come under their standing, which is under their foot. And these are the things that we teach in community law. It's the words that they use that put us in slavery instead of out of it. Lots to learn, guys, but it's all happening.
Lots to learn, but very interesting stuff. When Michelle says, please God, I pray, with the common law courts, she's saying, when is this all going to happen? Is it happening?
Okay, well, they're all in the throes. Everything's, as much as they're doing what they're doing, we're doing what we need to do, and it will happen. And they will be held accountable. And the most crucial thing is that we, the people, wake up and stand up and say, we do not consent. We will not bow down to this tyranny. And we need to do it not only for ourselves, for the here and now, but we need to do it for our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren. I mean, seriously, who would want their children's children to be born in slavery? Like, really, when you think about it.
She says, I don't understand how we can bring these people to justice if the whole world leaders are corrupt.
Because there's a lot more happening behind the scenes than what you're understanding right now, but there is a lot in place. That's why I said there is more for us than against us. We need to hold the line and stand up. We will win this. It will be turned over. There's a lot going to happen in October. So you need to not be in fear. You need to live in hope and know that we do win this.
Yeah, thank you, Michelle. Thank you for that. Namaste to you, and sending love. And that's the thing too, is getting clear on our vibration right now. I just want to say, we are 99.9% energetic beings. We are vibrating at different frequencies. So while we're learning this information, I do urge you, encourage you to keep your energy high, as much as it can be frustrating, because it's very easy to get into anger states and guilt and frustration and shame and all these kind of feelings, right, that can happen. If you are angry or feeling guilty or frustrated in any way, sad, you're vibrating at 150 and below, 150 hertz and below. Whenever you get into love, gratitude, peace, right, enlightenment's the highest vibration. You'll feel 700 plus. You are 500 and a plus. 500 plus, right? 528 is the love frequency. We have gratitude, joy, peace, enlightenment, right? These are all high vibrations. So as much as all this is happening, it's important to just notice what's going on, do your research, get empowered, and then be grateful for the lesson. Be grateful for the positives that are coming out of this, because it may seem that there's a lot of darkness. And yes, there is a lot of darkness, and darkness is just the absence of light, right? And that's where stepping up as light workers, as people who are owning their power, as you say, Dotti, owning our power right now is so important, because we have it all. Everything that's out there, all that light energy is within us as well, right? and it's like the yin yang of life. There's always going to be the dark energy and the dark forces out there. So the more light forces we bring together and the more we shine bright, we'll be able to light up the darkness. And Dotti, with one person waking up and stepping into love, we affect, I think, up to 500 others or something. Is that correct? Do you know anything about that?
Yes, it's huge, because you're not just affecting you yourself and your immediate surroundings. You're actually affecting multiple dimensions, and it's just going out, and people will be drawn to it. And the other thing to realize is, when you are not vibrating or staying in that higher frequency of love, and you are actually contracting with them, and the fear is what will make you sick. It will keep you down, and that's where they want you to stay, because it will make you sick. So to combat what they're doing, we rise up, we stand up in who we are, we center ourselves, we stay in peace, in being, we breathe fresh air that God has given to us, and every breath we take is a breath that he gives us, and then just know and trust that everything will be okay. But we've got to stand up. We've got to be a voice in this season. And that's where, if you can't be a voice, vibrate as high as you can and release that into the atmosphere, because the more of us that do that, the quicker we can turn this over.
Absolutely. And this is not about any religion. This is about spirituality. This is about tapping into the quantum field. This is the 5D energy. We are so incredibly powerful, and we often don't get it. And the powers that be want to have people living in fear. As you say, Dotti, they want to divide and rule. And because with fear, they control people, right? And so we need to say, no, we do not consent. And we own our rights. We know our rights. We own our rights, and we stand by those. And it's phenomenal once you start to get educated on your rights and realize you're not alone out there. If you're resonating with this conversation, you are not alone. There's a lot of people that are waking up out there. In fact, there's hundreds of thousands. In fact, I'd say millions across the world now starting to wake up. And just hundreds of thousands I've seen. But definitely there's a lot more waking up and awake than we may realize, right? And that's the thing, is to keep the faith, and keep a good environment of people around you who are going to lift your energy up, so that you remain in those states, right? Your environment's really important at this time. ZPG says they've tortured Julian Assange for over 10 years. Wow, 10 years, crazy. Labor and Liberal are two-headed snake. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Yep. Some as Democrats and Republicans, same as Democrats and Republicans in the US. Yeah, same. Absolutely. What other comments we got here? Anna says, we pay for all the government buildings. Yes, we do. We pay for all their buildings, absolutely. Never bend a knee to these criminals, ZPG says. Yes, I agree. Andy Hensel, vibes are high. Knowledge requires the health mentally and physically. Yes, that's exactly right. It's a 5D world, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. It's keeping that health there. The health mentally and physically, absolutely. Dana says, cannot wait to see our win on the physical also. Thank you, beautiful, strong women. Our pleasure, Dana. Thank you so much. Anna says, yes. Michelle says, so true. Dana says, yes, darkness is the absence of light.
Absolutely.
Andy says, Dot, I've got an enormous email for us all that I've sent to Claire, my offering for our cause using my voice. Oh, fantastic, Andy. Thank you so much. That's great. Okay, Michelle says here, I thank God that I met some beautiful friends at a rally. I was so alone, but now I'm much stronger and feel very blessed. Yay.
Awesome.
That's fantastic, Michelle. Any other comments, questions? We've already chatted for an hour, Dotti. Can you believe it? I could just keep chatting. It's gone so quick.
Too funny. I knew it would.
Yeah. Such a fascinating conversation, and there is really so much to learn. So I do encourage you to check out commonlaw-australia.com, which you'll find all sorts of interesting videos there and all sorts of amazing information. Also the Australia Project, which has been put together by this ex-police officer and friends as well, is fantastic. So I'll put that link in here in just a sec, and you'll be able to get cease and desist letters if you want to participate in that. Also, I love at your meetings how you have the trespass signs. So for people to not trespass on your property. In fact, I've got one at the front of my place now. I feel much better having that there right now. So here's the common law website there, commonlaw-australia.com. Any other questions, comments, just pop into the chat there. Anything else you want to add, Dotti?
Oh, no, look, thank you so much. And just look, everybody remember, stay in hope. Absolutely, know that we will get to the other side of this and it will be amazing. And that's where you need to focus as well. Focus on where we're going, what this is going to look like on the other side, what you would like your life to look like on the other side of this. And also just going back to the gentleman that talked about, produce, there are so many people that are already doing, fields of produce, and there's so many people that are awake. And part of our community is we actually do a business expo where we learn who's got what and we trade among ourselves. So, that it's really important to find and support those, not the cabal, not the big corporations, not the big companies. Please try and learn not to go to Kmart or Target or any of those, because they are all owned by them. Look for small businesses and support them and get to know them. Good old-fashioned community living where we stayed with one another and supported one another and did life together.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is phenomenal to see so many people coming together, the light workers, the truth seekers, the truth speakers out there coming together, supporting each other through this. And it really does feel like, we've found home in a lot of ways. And, hey, the environment's a lot better off now with all this COVID fiasco as well, I must say, with less people out and about. The environment is actually recovering quite amazingly. So, hey, there's always positives with every negative. Absolutely. And also a lot of people launching businesses online. There's a worldwide economy now, so lots of opportunities to now share your wisdom, to create online courses, to create income in other ways. You don't need to rely on your job, which stands for just over broke, right? You're just over broke. Maybe if they're saying to you, get the jab or you lose your job, maybe that's a sign to actually move on from that job, right? Because the fact is you could be dead in a few years if you take the jab. Let's face it, it's Russian roulette with what we're seeing. ZPG, stay away from Amazon.
Exactly. Yes, that's all of those big companies, just stay local. We need to learn to just, do with what we've got. But this is the best part, like you've said, Aldwyn, there is actually so many opportunities to start new businesses. You just got to think outside the box and start being creative and start letting that your heart's desire. Like someone might want to start knitting booties, who knows? But there's plenty to do. The days are over where we're going to rely on China to supply everything. Australia will become self-sufficient. We need those businesses back here. Start whatever it is you've done before or you want to do. This is the time to start your business. We're going to need it. We're going to need manufacturing back here in Australia because we will not be using overseas people.
Yes, absolutely. It's time to support the locals. And this is the people standing up now, and there's 99.9% of us, a lot more than those in dictatorship and the elite out there, right? So it's about coming together and realizing the power that we have, and particularly the power we have when we come together, when we unite. As you say, Dotti, when we unite, that's when the real power is, and to get informed, to know your rights, and that's where common law is amazing. So check out that website, commonlaw-australia.com and theaustraliaproject.org. Check that out as well. And there are meetings held on the Gold Coast and around the world, different common law meetings and groups. So check out, there's a whole lot online that you'll be able to find. And the common law group on the Gold Coast list their events on Eventbrite. So you can find them on Eventbrite, or just go to that website, commonlaw-australia, and you can pop your details in there, and then you'll get on the email list and get updated on upcoming events.
Yep, that's the best way to do it.
Excellent. Any final words, Dotti, before we wrap up? I can't see any other questions, comments from those watching.
Well, all I can say is, all power to you and power to us, and we can do this, and we will do this, and we are an incredible transitional journey, and it's an extraordinary time. We're witnessing history. We're making history. and we have got much to learn, much to do. There's no unemployment where we're going, because there is just so many exciting things to be done, and people's purposes and destiny will, if you haven't fulfilled it already, you're about to be launched into it. And that's what's so exciting.
Absolutely, Dotti. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much for your time today. You're amazing. And please stay connected. You are not alone out there. I have several events I run every month for anyone who wants to get their message out to the masses through online or offline publicity. There are many alternative media channels now where you can share your message. And I help people stand up, speak their truth, and make a bigger difference in the world. So stay connected. I've just popped my link tree in there. It's got all my links. I have Free Publicity Secrets Masterclass coming up on Friday. I have a Star Maker Masterclass on the Gold Coast, teaching people how to produce and present videos like a superstar on Saturday. We have the Global Good News Challenge that is on this week, starts today. And that is all about sharing more gratitude and good news and lifting your vibration on the planet. And then Wednesday, we have the Mass Media Tribe event. We have a guest speaker from Holland coming to that to speak about broadcasting and live streaming being the future of global media. So that will be fantastic too. So there's going to be some brilliant events coming up. Just check the links out in Linktree there. Connect on social media. Reach out to either of us if you have any other questions, and stay connected. Hopefully we'll see you at a common law meeting soon. And please keep sharing the love and keep shining bright. That's how we're going to make a difference in the world. In fact, that's what Gandhi says, be the change you wish to see in the world. And as I say, shine bright and light up all those around you. Sending you lots of love. This is my little love heart. Remind you, stay in love as much as possible. Lift your vibration and you will feel amazing. Plus, you will help those around you feel amazing, that no matter what is going on in the world, you can come from a loving place and you can still feel amazing and enjoy this beautiful world that we live in, because things could always be worse. So let's be grateful for what we have and the current opportunities during these times. Thank you once again. Thank you. Got lots of thank yous coming in. Thank you, ZPG. It's inspiring listening to like-minded people. Our pleasure. Thank you. Love from Andy. Love to Dana. Thank you so much. Andy said, like to thank Dot, Claire and Common Law Australia for their help in commenting my knowledge. Claire says, thanks, Aldwyn and Dotti. Great interview. Our pleasure. Blessings to you. Thank you for the great work you do. If you've been inspired at all by this, please share some links, share some comments, like or love this video, share the video. You never know who you'll inspire out there, who can then inspire others as well. And just hopefully this will spark a little bit of curiosity for people who have not opened their minds yet to what's going on, to maybe just to question what's going on out there, and start with that commonlaw-australia.com group. Start there, and then you can work your way around to the other information out there, and just, trust your gut, because you'll know what the truth is. You know within yourself what the truth is, right? And those who are awake and elevated in the 5D dimension, right? The fifth dimension, you'll immediately see what's going on, right? So let's wake the world up one person at a time, one message at a time. Thanks again, Dotti. You're amazing.
Right back at you, Aldwyn. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll see you all again later. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.